My name is Cherice Harrison Nelson. I'm a retired public school teacher, and currently I'm the curator of the Mardi Gras Indian Hall of Fame and the educational outreach coordinator for the Guardians Institute and the artistic director of Guardians of the Flame Maroon Society. I wear all sorts of hats, as do most Mardi Gras Indians. We're not just the personification of what you see on Mardi Gras Day. I think it's very important that this is a crucial time in our history, that we begin to document our history in our own words, that we can no longer sit idly by and allow others to interpret and disseminate information on our tradition. That's why I've asked Newcomb and other organizations to partner, because I'm a one-woman organization, with us to bring our stories to a wider audience. If we don't take the time to do that now, then we sit idly by and we can't complain once his story is written. And I think it's just that with anything, it's not stagnant, it's dynamic, it's always changing, it's growing, it's responsive to what's happening in the world, what's happening in the community. Continue to evolve. They'll be purists, but they're not really purists, because they're not doing it the way it was done 100 years ago. And if they find something that can add bling to their suits and sparkle and set them apart from other Mardi Gras Indians, they'll put that on their suit, and that is an evolution. If they think they can sing a song with a little more in it, they're going to sing that song, and that is an evolution. So although things evolve, for some people they evolve at a faster rate. For others, the rate is a little slower. In our group, the suits are constructed in a way that is truly an old-town, uptown way of masking. But the content, the beading techniques are evolving. So it's just where the evolution will occur. Will the evolution occur with the way you make the suits, the way you dance, the way you sing, the materials you buy? What's going to remain a constant and what's going to evolve? So I see it as a constant evolution. I can't even imagine where it'll be in 20 years, because it has evolved so much from 20 years ago with my son's story. It means that we're thinking intellectuals and we're questing for something else. We're not satisfied. And if you're not satisfied with this, that's an indicator that you're not satisfied with other things in your life, and you're always trying to make things better. It's a characteristic of a healthy person to me. My ancestors did not forget their ancestral homeland. They found a way to remember. They found a way to remain connected to West Africa. They may have cloaked it with feathers. They may have cloaked it in numerous ways. The voodoo religion may have been cloaked in Catholicism, much the same way. They found a way to remember the music. They found a way to remember the ritual dances. They found a way to remember the ritual attire. They found a way to remember the grieving tradition. We are still connected. Time and space did not sever the umbilical cord. And that's a wonderful thing, because everything about America tried to make us forget, tried to make us the other. But we're not the other. You know, unfortunately, many of us were brought here, our ancestors were brought here in the bottoms of boats. But this tradition is a way that we can celebrate who we are, what we are, and the fact that we did not forget. And that's a wonderful thing. We're encoded. It's in our DNA. It is the designer genes that makes us who we are. We must pay homage to those who went before us. To quote Isaac Newton, "If I can see farther, it is because I stand on the shoulders of giants," and that we pay homage to those giants, that we know that they are giants. Those people who went before us, who were the victims of unjust municipal laws and practices, that sometimes try to curtail their expressions of freedom and celebration, and that we don't take that for granted, that we know we are the inheritors of something very special and very sacred, and that we hold those truths to be what they are.
Brother Smokey, Brother Smokey, before we move on, big drumming man Luther thought it would be appropriate to have a prayer for you and to pray wellness for you and strength for you and all good things for you. So we're going to offer you a song in the African tongue. It's in the Yoruba language, and it's a song for wellness and to give you strength, to fill you with strength so that you can be well.
The Mardi Gras, for me, because everyone has a different history, and there's no definitive history of the Mardi Gras Indian group, and that is the beauty, the autonomy of each group. And for us, we wanted to embrace the fact that the Mardi Gras Indian tradition and the people who mask as Mardi Gras Indians are cultural warriors, and they're define their own courses. They epitomize or personify the Kwanzaa principle of Kujichagulia, self-determination. It is what I say it is. It's not what you call me. It is what I answer to. That's what matters. For me, it is not masking. It is unmasking. It's an opportunity to create and put forth my authentic self. When I wear these clothes, this is the mask. This is what I need to wear in Western civilization to be socially acceptable. When I put on my ritual attire, it is what I want. It is me. It is no one else. I made it. I decided what it would look like. I decided the colors. I decided when I would create it. It is everything that I want it to be. It is me. As I went through school, I matriculated through school. I went to McMain High School. That was the first time I heard negative things about the Mardi Gras Indians, that they were ignorant, it was street culture. And so I began to distance myself because as a teenager, you want to be accepted by your peers. So it became part of my history that I hid. But when I went to college, I had a class with Dr. Sarah Hollis. Through that and conversations with her and watching a Maurice Martinez film actually, and seeing my daddy and being encouraged by her to embrace this part of my family legacy, that it began to turn the tide for me. And so the more I learned about it, the more I wanted to be around it. When I was pregnant with my son, his father and I went to I guess you'd call it the Black Mardi Gras under the Claiborne Bridge. That's what the media calls it. And we went, and I didn't know at the time that we were on the corner of the White Eagles gang, and that was a gang my father had been the chief of at one time. I guess it was part of linking back up with my history, but it was also much deeper for me because when I reflect on it, my son was being introduced to it while he was still in my womb. And then when my son was born, he was born prematurely. When he would cry, my dad would pick him up and walk with him and pat him on his back and sing Indian Red into his ear. And by the time he got to the humming part, my son would usually be asleep and he would give him to me. So I think my son was groomed from infancy and even before birth to be a part of that tradition. For us, it's just not about masking on Mardi Gras Day. It's about fostering good citizenry, for our children to be productive citizens in our democratic society, teaching them the pillars of character, responsibility, respect, all those things. This tradition provides that for children, how to treat people, how to be respectful, how to respect the elders and those who have gone before you, to know that whatever you have, to consider it your inheritance. If it is taking care of the earth, you have inherited the earth, now it is in your care. You are a guardian of the flame. That flame is not just putting on a suit. That flame is education. Go to school, do well, pass that on to someone else. Read books, develop a love of books, pass that love on to someone else. All of those things. Take care of the earth. Tell someone else how to take care of the earth. Be conservative. Tell someone else how to do that. Save your money. Invest in yourself. Invest in an organization that you believe in that's doing good work. All of those things are important. Save money so that you can have a home for your family. Save money so that you can purchase something that you really want. Know the value of celebrating today, but also know the value of looking to the future and making sure our world is okay and you're okay. Plan for your future. Don't just plan for Mardi Gras Day. It's the analogy of the keys. If I shake a set of keys in front of you, and you say, and I ask you, what do you see? And you say, I see the keys. And I don't want my children to see the keys. I want my children to say, I see the horizon. I see a tree way, way over there. Or I can't see the end of the earth. I just see vastness. That's what we want for them. Not just to look at it for Mardi Gras Day. That's the end of it. We mask, okay, it's over. The first thing I decided is that I wanted to live, so I would do whatever it took to live. But when once people found out I had cancer, because at first I tried to hide the fact that I had cancer, but it took a lot of energy to do that, and I didn't want to use my energy hiding that. So when people found out, of course, they look at you with a cancer death scare, and they think you're going to die, and it was very difficult to deal with that. So what I decided to do was I started sending out what I call the Cherice Chronicles. So I would just write when I felt like it. I would just go to my computer and just pour out whatever was in me. I would just pour it onto the screen. It wasn't edited or anything. And when I was finished, I'd get up and go on with my day. And that way people were able to keep abreast of what was happening. So I let people know, they knew when I was going through chemo, when my hair fell out, other things. Some of it was funny, some of it was sad. But that way I could give people what I wanted them to have. And my closest friends and my family knew the days when I really couldn't get out the bed because I was really tired. And the days when I had really bad leg cramps and I would just moan because my legs ached so much. But other than that, I think I kind of kept my schedule, but the tiredness prevented me from doing things at my normal level. So I did everything, but it was just turned down a notch. Instead of the Emeril Lagasse thing, it was... Since we are at Tulane, that it's important that people know that the community partnerships are opportunities for the Mardi Gras Indians and collegiate college students like yourselves to develop greater understanding of each other. And that is the way we make our world a better place. When I think of you as them and you think of us as them, instead of thinking of us as us, that's a problem. But when you see how the many ways we are alike, rather than the many ways we are different, that makes the world a better place. And at the same time, it fosters greater appreciation of diversity. You appreciate that I'm different, but you don't make a judgment on the differences. It's just different. I always tell kids it's like Kool-Aid. You like grape Kool-Aid and you like strawberry. It's still Kool-Aid. It's just different. It doesn't mean that strawberry is better than grape. It's just a different flavor. So that's my Kool-Aid analogy. And that's my beaded soapbox. Someone once said that I'm always standing on a beaded soapbox. So I shall get off my beaded soapbox.